Hey, what's up everybody? I want to talk about a couple of words that are thrown around quite often in the world of sustainability and talk about what those mean and kind of what we're going for as an organization too. So a lot of people say off the grid. We hear self-sufficient, sustainable, resilient, and regenerative. So what do all those mean? Well, off the grid typically is thought about where you go build a house, buy solar panels, buy batteries and rainwater collection, and you go live disconnected from power, city water, sometimes city internet, completely off the grid. A lot of people provide for themselves and grow their own food. However, all of those things most of the time are purchased from the grid. So they only last, you only live off the grid until you have to go back to the grid to buy more stuff. Usually using fuel from the grid and automobiles from the grid, and a lot of times using the internet and connected to the grid in that manner. So it's really not technically 100% off the grid. We can get close to that. Then we have self-sufficient. Self-sufficient, if you think about it, if you wanted to be self-sufficient for yourself, for your own body and soul, you'd have to go out naked and provide everything you need. Your clothing, your tools, your food, your shelter. You'd have to do all that, if you technically want to be 100% self-sufficient. There are a lot of self-sufficient societies still where people provide for the whole society, but there's usually different people within that society that have different specialties. Some people make clothing, some people hunt and gather, some people take care of the kids, etc. And technically, as a whole, the human species has always been self-sufficient as far as we know. We don't have an alien resource that's providing for us. We're surviving and growing our population on our own as a human species. However, self-sufficient and off the grid really are not necessarily sustainable. They could be, but they're not. So then we'll talk about sustainable. This is the word we use because sustainable is to sustain our species, to live in harmony with the planet, to sustain future generations, and not just to sustain a decline, as a lot of people might think about it, but to empower future generations so that not just our own children here in America, but humans, children across the world, and other species around the world are able to sustain their own populations and thrive. That's the key, because we're barely sustaining a lot of human populations, and we're killing off a lot of animals. So those, we're not living sustainably. So in order to do that, and being connected to the grid, the grid as a whole has to be sustainable. That's the key here. Is we can't be a sustainable community by ourselves unless everybody else does it too. So we have to help the rest of the world, right? I know it sounds like a big deal, but if we all do it, we can do it together. In becoming sustainable, you build resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back. It's the strength. When you fall, you can get back up. So we're building resilience. And then regenerative, by nature, and by the way, this is a bouncy ball, in case you were wondering. Ball bouncing back. Okay. And then regenerative is by nature. Nature will regenerate. Life regenerates. When we cut ourselves, it heals. When a tree falls, a new one grows. It regenerates by nature, and that's the beauty of the living systems around us. Like, entropy is a gradual decline to disorder, but integrity is a state of being whole and complete. And the only thing that builds integrity is life, living systems. So the more life we can support on the planet, the more living systems we can create, the more integrity and harmony and vitality and resilience we can create. And we all do that together by focusing on sustainability. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Love you guys.